we can go live now. All right, looks like everything is set up good here, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. And we're a minute and a half early, but that's okay. So, hey everybody, and as always, welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Rich Charpentier, and I'm the channel host. And normally, we're usually talking about drones and imaging and building your small drone business. And today is no different, except for the fact that we're doing this live stream on a Wednesday. Now, normally we do live streams on Monday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We're now starting to get into the heat of the summer here in Arizona. And with that in mind, I'm having to change some things on my schedule so that I can work with my clients, get jobs done, and not get kind of jammed up by the weather. So Arizona, it's a hot state. That's just an expectation, especially for those folks down in Phoenix and Tucson and Yuma. I feel bad for everybody down there. I don't think I could put up with that level of heat. Here in Prescott, while it does get hot, we're always cooler than down in the valley. So usually I can work around that better. But last week we were hitting 100 degrees almost every day for an entire week. And with that in mind, I don't like going out and flying in extreme excessive heat. I have concerns about the drone operation, the batteries, etc. So with that in mind, we're shifting our schedules around. So this is why we're making a move from Monday mornings to Wednesday late afternoon. So we're doing this at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and we're probably going to do it this way through the summertime at least before we move back to the mornings. Now, I am a morning person, so I would much rather do the live streams and the video setups and things on early in the morning. That's great by me. And usually at this time of day, I'm winding down a little bit. So if I seem a little more subdued, that's why. But I still wanted to keep the live streams going. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on them and didn't want to do away with them. Wednesday is usually my lightest day, so I try to use Wednesday as the cleanup day to catch up on projects and things, return calls, return emails, from the start of the week. So that's why I thought Wednesday afternoons would be best for us here. So that's what we're doing. And I want to jump right in here. So after talking about the changing of the days for the regular YouTube live streams, I just want to let patrons know that we're still doing the Zoom meetings on Sunday mornings. This upcoming Sunday, we've done 3 Zooms in a row, so this upcoming Sunday, we're not going to be doing the Zoom meeting, and it's not for lack of interest. It's actually, I have another client flight the last Sunday of every month. I'm actually doing another construction site for a different client that I picked up just 2 months ago. And they're having me document a new build out, and they want it on the last Sunday of every month. And so we're going out pretty early on those as well. And it's a bit of a drive. So that means that those Zoom meetings aren't going to be happening the last Sunday of the month. So for patrons, for our regular Zoom meetings that run about an hour and a half, and usually cover about 3 topics, this upcoming one this Sunday, we won't be seeing that, but next Sunday we'll be resuming again, and we'll be doing the 3 in a row again. So now what I've had up on screen, you're probably looking at it, you probably know all about it, but over the past couple days today, we're all back to good. But 2 days ago, the LAANC system was down, apparently some kind of server issues, and I had a flight to go do. So on Monday morning, I actually had a flight for a client scheduled. They were in controlled airspace. I can do a LAANC request. Now, normally when I'm getting ready to do client sites, I check everything out. I look up, see if there's any TFRs on SkyVector, which we'll pull up momentarily. One thing that I've gotten in the habit of, and it's a bad habit, is doing my LAANC request when I've gotten to the location. So that's a new bad habit that I've slipped into. And with the LAANC system going down for 2 days, that kind of, stopped me up for a minute. Now, yes, you can go to the FAA drone zone and you can put in a request there as well. I don't know the time frame on response, but so lesson learned from me, will be actually setting up, we'll be doing the LAANC requests before we actually drive out to client sites from now on, because I got myself all the way out to the Granite Dells. I got up into the Granite Dells, took a nice long hike, got everything set up. to start doing some documentation for Pointer Rocks RV Campground again. We're doing our yearly video for them. And the LAANC system on here on screen, the unexpected error. So that was the message that I received from Kitty Hawk, which is now Aloft. So just to double check myself, I actually broke out AirMap as well. I haven't deleted that from the phone. I tried to do an authorization through them as well, and I got a notification back from them letting me know that they could not process it at this time. Now, there wasn't a lot of additional information, though. It was pretty cryptic. Something wasn't working. So one of my first thoughts returning to the office was, do I have all my information up to date on Aloft? Do I have my information up to date with AirMap? Has anything changed with them? Are their services changed? So I actually took a look through each of the apps, finally popped up on the Discord server for AZ Drone, and got a quick answer from another one of our patrons to let me know, yep, something was going on with LAANC. So yesterday morning, I just tested things out again, didn't drive out to the location. Instead, I just checked it out here to set up LAANC requests, still had the same unexpected error. Now, one of the other things that crossed my mind when I first got that unexpected error is the fact that we do have several TFRs in the area. So on the third image here on the right-hand side, you see Kaibab National Forest, looking down toward Jerome, looking down toward Chino, there's Flagstaff. We do have multiple fires in the area going on right now. Some are doing better on containment than others, but this is fire season here as well. So, there's a lot to plan around when it comes to doing flights here, as there is anywhere else in the country. We've all got adverse weather conditions, heat, cold, all different things. So our drone work is very contingent on what the weather is doing and other outdoor factors. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this one. And I just wanted to show, so Drone DJ, when I first was finding problems submitting my LAANC application, and then I got notified that, yeah, there is something up. Found Drone DJ's article, so they were just talking through the outage. So I've gone over to the FAA's drone zone on Twitter, which we'll pull up momentarily. So they had a bit of an explanation going on there. But I would, keep in the back of your mind that if you're dependent on LAANC for some controlled airspace that you're used to flying, don't be complacent. Always double check it before you head out. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headaches. So the initial notification was very short. Drone DJ had it up, and we also had DP Review had a notification up on it as well. So it was great to get a little validation and find out, okay, it's not something with the apps I'm using. We didn't do anything wrong here. Our information isn't expired, but still, it was problematic. It set me back 2 days. And maybe I should have just went through the FAA's drone zone yesterday. So on the Twitter feed, I've got to make sure that I follow the FAA drone zone afterward for this so that I see their updates. But so they put out their update 9 hours or more than 9 hours ago. That airspace authorizations through LAANC are back up and stable. The outage was caused by a series of server issues that have been resolved. So great news there. But big lesson learned for me is let's do these things. Let's test these up front before we even head out. Good afternoon, Ray, or good evening actually to you, I believe. Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you. So, all right. Before we move away from any more of this information, I did want to pull up Sky Vector as well, because this is something I check always the day before that I go out and do flights for clients. And I always like to know, especially during the summer season, what the TFRs are looking like, because I definitely do not want to get it in the way of fire operations. So if you're not in Arizona and you've never seen a TFR in Arizona for fire issues, on Sky Vector, you can click on the boxed area. So we have the information here. The issue date was June 23rd, 2021. And the reason for this, to provide safe environment for firefighting aviation operations. Now, we all know, do not fly near forest fires. Stay out of those TFRs. You do not want to ground the firefighting efforts, which actually happened in our area a couple of years ago. There was a fire over in the Mayer area, and there was a drone operator who was flying near the fire, and they did shut down the aerial firefighting operations completely. That particular operator was actually apprehended, and I think they learned a little bit about, don't fly in these areas. A lot of people aren't even aware of TFRs or where they can check them out, especially folks who are newer to drone flight. So sure is evening for you. Yeah, that's what I thought, Ray. So I thought you were across the pond there. But so there we go. That's what one of the notifications looks like. If we take a look at the others, you'll see same thing, to provide a safe environment for firefighting operations, and same with that last one in the area. But you can see we do have several others in the area as well. So it is always worthwhile to check out SkyVector, and definitely beneficial for your own time. Now, before we close that one down, I'm taking a look down here. So today I finally had the opportunity to get over to Point of Rocks RV Campground to start setting up for their new video. And yes, so we have gone to the gray overcast days. So we were supposed to get some rain today. The floor for the clouds, I could still fly today. So this is not a video that we're going to be using for Point of Rocks by any stretch of the imagination, but I did use this opportunity this morning to set up a couple of pre-programmed flight paths once again in Litchi. And let me see, aerial view advantage. Good evening, Rich Joe. Hey, Joe, good to see you on here. Thanks for coming in today. Sorry about moving these days and times around, but we're just doing it to deal with the summertime heat here. So freeing up the mornings is a good thing. I do get a lot of last minute calls or, short notice calls from potential clients. And so if I can have the mornings freed up for them, we can go out and do an extra job. So anyways, I got to go out this morning, and let's go ahead and minimize that from the background. I got to go out this morning and actually mark out several waypoint paths, 3 different ones. This one is extremely slow. One thing that I should mention, if you're using Litchi to set up, a waypoint video flight where you've got this really nice, smooth, and super cool flight that's repeatable so that you can go back in again and again, do me a favor and just remember one thing. When you're setting up your waypoint mission, you do have a settings button on Litchi. And oftentimes that settings button, the settings will carry over from your last flight. So in the case of this one, this is flying a lot slower than I needed it to fly. But the problem was, when I set this up, I forgot that the last setup was for an orbit around a building. So I kind of kept the same flight speed and everything. So this is a really slow roll. So once I got it up in the air and I was watching it move away from me, I said to myself, too slow, and quite obviously I hadn't gone back in to change the settings. One other thing that we'll notice in this momentarily is this extremely quick and unusable turn. So, I've got to change my settings for my curved turns as well. So this turn toward Watson Lake, not as good as it could have been. But visiting the site today, knowing that I could do the setups that I wanted, and then we'll come in on a much better day where we don't have that kind of cloud cover, I'm going to be all set to go. So I've got 3 different video flights set up for the clients, and I'll just be able to do them 1, 2, 3 in a row, and that'll probably just take me 1 battery. So nice and simple and easy. We're doing some other flights for them as well, but I also thought that everyone on channel would like to see what Watson Lake and the Granite Dells is looking like right now. So the water level is extremely low here, and it is my understanding also with our fire season and things that some of the reservoirs and areas actually aren't able to provide water right now for firefighting operations. So if you're in the Arizona area, just keep in mind we are coming into fire season here, and all throughout the Southwest. So if you're visiting here or you live here, watch out for the chain sparks on the highways, and just be fire aware. So there was that quick turn, and another quick turn. Sorry, that probably just made everybody seasick. That was just it turning around for me for the last part of that flight. So after seeing what I did today and what I captured today, I did modify my Litchi flights, but I just wanted to show you. So it was still a valuable visit. Let's bring that one back up here and let's head right in here. So this was actually set up today manually on location. So I went into the Granite Dells to my favorite launch location, and I put Litchi into waypoint mode, and then I use my little C1 key to drop my waypoints. Now, you can do this one of several ways. You can actually have a point of interest, and if you look around here, you will notice I did not use the point of interest features. Instead, I used all the features in the waypoint missions themselves. So I flew the drone to exactly where I wanted it. I tilted my gimbal exactly where I wanted it, so everything's in the direction that I was choosing for that part of the scene. Once all of that is set up and I've got the drone aligned the way I want to, I go ahead and I hit that custom function to drop the waypoint. And that's going to read, so from the EXIF data that we have captured, we're actually going to have a lot of information. So the first one's only at 35 feet. That's for that low shot where I start rising up and moving the gimbal. But so doing this manually and clicking off those C keys, let's take a look and see what's going on. So number one, it gives me my lat and long. I really love that. Number two, we took this first shot at 35 feet. We're going with our cruising speed from our settings. And one other thing, curve size is 0 feet. That was the other thing that I skipped over and made a mistake on, so I will be correcting that as well. Where I have the drone pointed right now, the heading is 266 degrees, so this is all coming from that EXIF data as well. We don't have a point of interest, so instead we're just going with where the drone is pointing at. So the gimbal pitch we actually have set to interpolate. So the gimbal setting that I made before I hit that custom function key, I had the gimbal directed where I wanted it, so it was only 5 degrees down. And with interpolate, what that allows is that we're going to take that information from the waypoint mission, and this is exactly where the drone's going to be facing for that first waypoint. So let's see here, right down at the bottom, I'm going to hit the arrow key to go to number 2. So number 1 and number 2 are really close together. Number 1 was close to the ground, 35 feet above ground. Number 2, we started bringing the elevation up and filming that. So I still wanted that view over into the park to show, you know, the nice secluded sights and everything in there. So we're raising up here 70 feet and some things are going to change. So once again, altitude now is at 105 feet. So I just brought the drone up manually and then popped that custom function key, but this is all the great information that we're getting into Litchi. So once again, my curve size here, we've got a much better curve size on this one. So I just need to go through and make sure to correct those curve sizes across the board because I didn't do that quite right today. So 40 feet. Our heading is now 270 degrees instead of that 266. Once again, that gimbal pitch, we're going with an interpolate again. And this time, to get where I wanted, we're now at a down tilt of 11 degrees. And so the other nice thing here in the Litchi Mission Hub, we get to arrow through these. So the third one's not too far away either. We're just making some small moves and some changes here. So 137 feet above my launch location. And curve size, we push that out. So I just have to go through, like I said, on a couple of the other ones further on out. We'll fix those. So this time around, 281 degree heading, so we're moving just a little bit, and gimbal pitch is now at -15. So those custom function keys are so useful when you're in the field to set some of these up. Because if I was doing this manually in here, I don't know what the down tilt should be if I want to look back into the park just by viewing this map. So it is a really, really powerful feature that Litchi does offer. So there we go, the interpolate again. So I'm just going to arrow through these. So I think this is close to my highest above ground level here at 214 feet. And once again, there's a good curve size there. -15 degrees still, so we didn't play too much. We're not moving that gimbal around a lot. But in the end, I did like the overall flight. Like I said, disappointed in some of that flight speed there. I was going a little too fast on those curves, so those things are going to be corrected. Now, on the way back, let's arrow back here. So our last one, you can see the drone, the drone symbol right here, still pointing back to where we started from. But when we get to waypoint number 6, we've turned that basically 180 degrees almost. So we're looking at waypoint number 5. Let's arrow over to waypoint number 6, because from between 5 and 6, we turn the drone back to look out at Watson Lake, get that really nice stunning view. So there we go. At 6, we now have a heading of 118 degrees, so going back there, and we've got the curve size of 91 feet. So like I said, I'm going to be playing with my flight speed and just checking all of those curves after. So just bringing it on back to waypoint number 7, still looking back out toward the water. You will see, so now we're down to 177 feet. Moving back to point 8, we kept it at the 177. And then moving out to point 9, we actually dropped things down because I wanted to also give a look at the new picnic area, which Pointer Rocks Campground has also added. So let's close these waypoints here. And let me take a look over. All right, so we took a look at the Pointer Rocks project, and we also took a walk through there with the Litchi setup. So once again, if you've got the batteries to burn, and if you're going to a really interesting location and you really would like to make something super smooth, and maybe you're not the best on the sticks, not everybody is the smoothest drone operator. Even with a lot of practice, sometimes people will still get some jerky motions and things in there. And something like Litchi and other flight apps that allow you to do these types of waypoint missions can really give you some extreme flexibility in creating something that people will really enjoy without those jerky motions. So don't feel bad if you're not the greatest on the sticks. That's okay. That's why some of these tools are available to us. All right, so now let's take a look down on screen and see what I misplaced and where. All righty. Let me take a look at one of these flights. So I did actually do 2 flights in here to just test all of this out. So there we go again. So there's where we're going from the waypoint number 1 to waypoint number 2, where we're just getting a lot of that elevation gain. For some reason on screen to me right now, this is looking, whoops, a little out of focus, a little bit soft focus. And so once again, as you can see, I still had the incorrect flight speed. It was still going way too slow for my liking. But yeah, so this one's probably going to get tossed out. The other one was definitely sharp focus. And yeah, we'll actually get that cleared out. So what am I doing all this for? When I say the Pointer Rocks project here, let's go ahead and head on down to Final Cut Pro. So each year, I actually do a new video for Pointer Rocks RV Campground. And we will update that later. And let's just get in. So I'm getting into Final Cut Pro right now here for you. And I need to go ahead and remove that script right there. There we go. I actually have done a couple of voiceovers for them. They gave me a script to do this year, which is awesome. So not everything in this one is about drone flight. So we do have, of course, we've got some interesting flight from last year in the same location. That's going to be getting replaced with the final flight from today's video. Let's see, Ray Hollins, using the function keys seems to be faster and simpler to set up the missions. It takes a little, it takes a little time while you're in the field, Ray. If you're doing a bigger one, a bigger flight, you're probably going to burn through a battery setting these up. What's really nice is you can take a look on screen, see exactly what you're shooting, get it lined up exactly where you want it, especially like on a video flight. And once you get it where you want it and you hit that function key, that custom function key, when you're ready to do the flight, you know that the drone's going from waypoint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that you're getting the quality of the flight that you really want. So we can build these, right on the app. So I can break out my iPhone and build a waypoint route. And I can do it on Litchi's Mission Hub and, put down that waypoint route as well. But when it comes to, am I pointed at the campground that I want to be pointed at? Am I looking at the rocks? Am I at a good elevation to show off the rocks and the lakes and the mountains in the background? The best way to see it is boots on the ground. So it's not necessarily easier, but I know exactly what I'm going to get if I'm doing it in the field. So it's worth that extra bit of time to me, at least, so that I'm sure I'm getting what I want. And other than those quick spins that I had in there, we can edit those types of things out, and we'll fix those curve sizes. Once that's cleaned up, the next flight that I do for him when we have a nice puffy cloudy day, which is probably going to be Friday or Saturday, I'm going to get to go up and I'll be able to run all 3 of the different paths that I did. So in addition to our regular drone flight that we're doing for them, let me just hit this here. So this is just putting together, this is a rough draft at the moment as well, because we want to showcase the RV park and we want to showcase their new picnic area as well. So that's what was just up on screen. They also made mention in their script that we're very close to the Grand Canyon. So this particular video is showing potential new visitors what their campground looks like, what they can expect, what kind of services and amenities are there, and what is in the area for them. And there's a lot to do in Prescott for those of you who've been here. I think you've gotten the idea through our videos and on the channel. It's a beautiful place and it's very recreation oriented. So they do have some really nice private sites. So this was actually iPhone footage. And we also wanted to show off that they can handle the biggest rigs down to the smallest rigs. They also have their own private trail down to Watson Lake as well. It's a quick little 7-minute jaunt and you're down in Watson Lake Park right next to the water and you can enjoy all the trails in the area. So as you can tell, I've got the script turned off right now. I don't want to bore you guys with that one, but so this is part of what I've been doing today. And like I said, since we had the overcast going on, I don't have all the video I want done. Like this is an example one, which I'm going to be stripping out and I'll be using something else that we created this year. But this is actually one of my B-roll flights above the park from a couple of years ago. So the lake water is much higher in there. So if you're looking out at the lake, so anyone who's got a keen eye, if they're looking at this, would say, hey, that video wasn't shot at the same time that video was. It gives people a really awesome view of the upper loop here, and we're also doing the lower loop of the park. And then in addition to that, we're also bringing people over to Willow Lake, which is right across the way. They've got some unique historical items in this building. They have a lot of cookout areas. So once again, just like Watson Lake, hiking, mountain biking, paddling, kayaking, canoeing, there's just so much to do in the area. And so going through their script and working through what they're looking for, what you're seeing right now is not the final draft. Take note, when I click on one of these here, you'll notice this boxed out area. So this is one section. I'm actually, through the script, leaving myself open sections so that I can do some more filler video and filler still photos as well. So this is, it's a bigger project when we're looking at probably doing a 3.5-minute video for them. So we also wanted to showcase the office. We also wanted to showcase their website to let people know there's plenty to do in the area and also lead them over to their online reservation request system. So the entire video setup and what I'm doing, I'm actually fashioning it around the script that they gave me. And let me see here. The script that they gave me came out to almost 2 minutes, 20 seconds. So I have room for another minute. And, even with short clips, it's going to add a lot more to it. They even also wanted to point out simple things because people will always have these types of questions. What type of amperage do you have as an RV resort or RV park? So they wanted us to actually show off in no uncertain terms. They said, we want a picture of these power poles. The fact that they are the 50 and 30 and there's all the outlets for them. And then also showcasing their new bathrooms. So I still have a couple of placeholders and things that I've got to get done. I think I'll be finishing the edit on this once I have the rest of my flight information collected here. So now comes the big finger cross that we get a good weekend day. It's looking in the forecast right now like we're not going back into the 90s for a few days. So very happy to be able to go out and fly some more. Now, on the Zoom meetup that we had on Sunday, I talked to the Patreon members, and I just wanted to share this with the YouTube members. Well, I don't have it sitting right in front of me. So we have not been flying in the extreme heat. We've been doing everything we can to take precautions to keep track of our drone temperature and drone battery temperatures. And in a previous video here, we talked about, tracking our ambient temperatures, when we're coming back in with air data. So, we've been watching out very closely, but on a flight the other day where it was still sub 90 degrees, brought the drone back in from doing a home orbit, a home construction orbit, I should say. The home is just coming together. And once again, we had another Mavic 2 battery that had extreme swelling. When I pushed in the side clips, that battery popped right out of there because there was so much swelling on the bottom. All I had to do is hold the battery up. Jody was a couple feet away from me. I said, take a look at this. She saw the curving effect on it. It was very extreme, very noticeable. And I do label all of my batteries. So that battery was purchased in February of 2020. It had less than 75 flights on that battery. We do the regular battery servicing according to AirData's information as well. So, I check with their recommended servicing and everything. And so this one at least is a year and a half old, but I'm still incredibly, incredibly disappointed with the Mavic 2 Pro batteries. In total, in the last year and change, so back into January of 2020, I have swapped out 7 batteries now. So I went through and double checked all of them. So 7 batteries have all found themselves in not great situations. None of the batteries ruptured or anything, but every single one of them got to the point where you could just rock them back and forth on a flat surface, just like those children's toys way back when, the Weebles. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Well, that's exactly the same thing that's been going on with these batteries. I mentioned on the Zoom meetup with our patrons the other day as well, I am going to be picking up a Phantom 4 Pro 2. Probably going to be putting that order in the next couple of days because these batteries are becoming incredibly unreliable to me. And given the amount of raw land sites that we're doing in locations like Coconino County, up near Flagstaff, and being way out in the woods and way out in the woods that are extremely dry and extremely flammable, I don't want to be that guy. So we have to find some better solutions. The Mavic has done an absolutely awesome job. I've been very impressed with everything that I've gotten out of my Mavic 2 Pro and my original Mavic as well. And that original Mavic, by the way, still hasn't had any battery swelling issues, and that was purchased in 2017. So very different how the batteries have held up in that original Mavic versus the Mavic 2 Pro. So look forward on this channel in the near future to me checking out the Phantom 4 Pro. I know it's not a new one, it's not an FPV, it's not one of the ultralights, but it is a practical drone for what I do and for my business purposes. So that's what's always in my mind. Would I love to get my hands on one of these little FPV drones just for a little fun? Sure, absolutely. But when it comes right down to it, for me, the primary usage of drones in my life is actually a big part of my business. And of course, yes, I do enjoy doing these flights. I love setting up these waypoint missions and these progression reports and all these things. It's a lot of fun. And so, Ray's question before about using the function keys seems faster and simpler. Here's the other thing, Ray. It allows me, when I'm doing these flights, it allows me to be out there in the Granite Dells, enjoying myself, immersing myself in that landscape area, which is absolutely stunning. And I'm also doing my job for a customer at the same time. So if you're having fun and you're having fun at your job, that's awesome. So, all right, everyone, I'm going to get ready to wrap this one up today. And so going forward into the summer, we're going to be doing these live streams at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And once again, for our patrons doing the Zooms, we're going to be doing 3 Zooms a month, with the last Sunday of the month reserved for one of my clients because it's early morning driving. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed this afternoon/evening live stream. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Drop me a note on YouTube. Pop by azdrone.net. You can drop us a private note there as well. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to answer them and field them as best as I can. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap these things up. I'm going to spend a little household time here because starting tomorrow, I'm going to be a bachelor for the next couple of weeks as Jody's visiting the East Coast, seeing friends and family, and I'm going to be staying out here. All right, everyone, have an awesome rest of your week, and I hope you enjoyed this Wednesday live stream. So let's go ahead and pull that up, and we'll wrap the live stream up. We'll see you again really soon, and have a great one.